தங்க மீன்கள் தெரியுமாடா? தங்க மீன்கள்
தெரியாதே. கோல்டன் ஃபிஷ் ஐ டோன்ட் நோ. தெரியாதே.
தங்க மீன்கள் எனக்கு பட்டு மெத்தை விரிக்கும்.
பெட்டா?
வைர நண்டுகள் தெரியுமாடா? வைர நண்டுகள்.
டைமண்ட் கிராப்ஸ்.
அந்த வைர நண்டுகள் எனக்கு சாமரம் வீசும்.
ஐயோ புளுரா.
பொன்னிற தவளைகள் தெரியுமாடா? பொன்னிற தவளைகள். அந்த பொன்னிற தவளைகள் எனக்கு ரீங்காரம் பாடும், தாலாட்டு பாடும்.
ஐயோ
இப்படிப்பட்ட சொர்க்கத்தில் இருந்த என்னை இந்த பால்பட்ட பூமிக்கு கொண்டு வந்த படல உன்னை என்ன செய்கிறேன் பாருடா. இந்த பூமியை பாருங்க.
ஐயா சீதையாத்து.
எங்கு பார்த்தாலும் குப்பை, சாக்கடை, பாதாள சாக்கடை. இந்த மனிதர்களை பாரு. குப்பைகளை மூட்டை மூட்டையாக சுமந்து கொண்டு போகிறார்கள்.
என்னடா
இவர்கள் குளிப்பது கூட கிடையாது.
ஹைதராபாத்ல கடல் இல்லடா.
பக்கத்தில் செல்லவே அருவருப்பாக இருக்கிறது.
நீ கடலுக்குள்ள எவ்வளவு வருஷமா இருக்கிற?
பல கோடி 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 வருஷமா இருக்கண்டா.
கண்ணி பாத்துக்கிறியா? கப்படிக்குதுப்பா.
உன்னை சாப்பிட போறேன்டா.
என்ன?
உன்னை சாப்பிட போறேன்டா.
என்ன சாப்பிட போறியா? என் உடம்புல ஒண்ணுமே இல்ல, வெறும் எலும்பு தானே இருக்கு.
உன்னோட எலும்பா? உன்னோட எலும்பு அப்படியே முறுக்கி
முறுக்கி
நொறுக்கி
நொறுக்கி
அப்படியே ஜூஸா புளிஞ்சு
புளிஞ்சு
குடிக்க போறேன்டா.
ஐயோ அம்மா அம்மா
அம்மா அம்மா உங்க அம்மாவை சாப்பிட போறேன்டா.
எங்க அம்மாவை சாப்பிடுறியா? அதான் அந்த அம்மா அதோ கண்டுக்கிறாங்க. அந்த அம்மாவை சாப்பிடுறியா?
சாப்பிடுவேன்டா.
டேய் இந்த ஒரு அக்கா இருக்கிறாங்களே, அந்த அக்காவை சாப்பிடுறியா?
அந்த அக்காவை சாப்பிடுவேன்டா.
டேய் நல்லா பாட்டு பாடுவாங்கடா. காய் ஒரு நல்ல டீம்ல பாட்டு பாடிட்டு இருக்காங்கடா.
பரவாயில்லடா. சாப்பிடுவேன்டா.
இந்த அக்காவை சாப்பிடுறியா?
சாப்பிடுவேன்டா.
இந்த பசங்க எல்லாம் சாப்பிடுவியா?
மாமிசம் என்றால்
இரு. இந்த பசங்க அம்மா எல்லாம் சாப்பிடுவா?
ஆமா.
ஐயோ இந்த பச்சை பசங்க பாதமே சாப்பிடுவியா?
ஆமாண்டா. எனக்கு மாமிசம் என்றாலே ரொம்ப பிடிக்கும். இந்த சின்னஞ்சிறு சிறுவர்களின் மாமிசம் என்றால் சொல்லவா வேண்டும். சாப்பிடுவேன்டா.
ஐயோ பெரிய பசங்கடா, பெரிய பசங்க, தொட்ட பசங்க. சரி வெத்த பசங்க. ஆமா நீ என்ன வேணாலும் செய்வியா?
ஆமா
என்ன வேணாலும் செய்வியா?
என்ன வேணாலும் செய்வேன்டா.
எங்க கொஞ்சம் சிரி பாப்போம். இது வேற. சீரா பாப்போம். நல்லா சீரா பாப்போம். இது சரி பாடா. நீங்க சரிங்களா பாப்போம். இதுக்கு பேர் சிரிப்பா. கொஞ்சம் அழு பாப்போம். அழுடா. நீங்க
என்னடா சிரிக்க சொல்ற, அழுக சொல்ற? என்ன நக்கல் பண்றியா?
விக்கல்ரா. ஆமா என்ன வேணாலும் சரியா? அந்த வார்த்தை தொடுவியா?
தொடுவேன்டா.
கைய தொடுவியா?
தொடுவேன்டா.
ஏய் மகானா இங்க இல்லடா. இந்த பில்டிங் ஹைதராபாத்தை தாண்டி மேல 8வது வாய்ப்புல இருக்குடா.
தொடுவேன்டா.
தொடு பாப்பா. என் கதையா பாடா. கால் இங்க இருக்குடா. கோரியா கொக்கா கோரியா கொக்கா. இப்ப தொட போகுது. பயங்கரமா இருக்கு. ஏற்கனவே பூமியில பாம்பு அடிக்கிறானுங்க, பட்டாசு அடிக்கிறானுங்க. கடலுக்கு என்ன கோமா அது பாதி பேரை கொண்டு போயிருது, புயல் பாதி கொண்டு போயிருது. இது ஐயோ வானமும் வாங்க கீழே வந்தா தாங்க மாட்டோம்டா விட்டுறா மேல விட்டுறா ஓடு 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 சிரிக்க சொன்னா சிரிக்கிறான் அழுவ சொன்னா அழுவுறா வானத்தை தொட சொன்னா தொடுறான் இதெல்லாம் செய்யலன்னா அந்த சொம்பே சத்தமா சொல்லு சொம்பு எப்படி பாருங்க சிரிக்காத நான் சொல்றா
இப்படியாகப்பட்டனா இப்படியாகப்பட்டனா இப்படியாகப்பட்டனா
நீ பூதண்டா பயப்பட மாட்டாங்கடா
இப்படியாகப்பட்டனா இப்படியாகப்பட்டனான்
அங்கே இருக்கிறியா மூச்சு முட்டி செத்துற மாட்டிய
இல்ல இதாண்டா எனக்கு சொர்க்கம்.
ஒரு சூத்திரங்க பையனை புடிச்சு உள்ள போட்டு வச்சுக்கிறீங்க என்ன பண்ண போறாங்க?
ஐயோ உச்சா போயிட்டான்டா உச்சா போயிட்டான்.
அங்கே இருக்கிறியா?
ஆமா.
ஓ சத்திர மாட்டியா?
இல்ல
ஆனந்தமா இருக்குதா?
ஆனந்தமா.
ஒண்ணு வெளிய விட்டா நான் நிம்மதியா இருக்க முடியாது. சாரு பாரு தூ 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 ஓடி ஓடி ஓடி. ஐயோ அம்மா நான் இந்த போத்திரமை எப்படிமா கண்டுக்குள்ள கொண்டு போய் விடுவேன்? கோரி 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 எங்கப்பா இருக்க? இந்த கழுதமாவ எங்க போனா? நீங்க யாராவது கோரிய பாத்தீங்களா? கோரி எங்க போனா? நீங்க பாத்தீங்களா? ஓ கோரி நீ இங்க வந்தா விழுந்து நிக்கிற. இப்ப நான் உன்னை பிடிப்பேன்டா. ஐயோ பேய் 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 பேய். என்னாச்சுடா? பேய்மா. பேய் எங்க? நீதா நான் பேய்டா. நான் அம்மா. அம்மா நீ அம்மா? இது அம்மா நான் கடலுக்கு போனேன். கடலுக்கா? ஐயோ எதுக்குடா கடலுக்கு போனேன்? ஆமா ஆமா வேலையில குடிக்கிறமா. எதுக்குடா கடலுக்கு போனேன்? அந்த வேலையில குடிக்கல. அவங்க உங்களுக்கு கை கால் எவ்வளவு வாட்டி சொல்லியிருக்காங்க அவனோட கடலுக்கு போக வேண்டாம். அவங்க உங்களுக்கு கை கால் இல்ல அவங்களே துவைச்சுக்கலாம்ல. வாஷிங் மிஷின் வந்துருச்சுல. டிரான்ஸ்லேட். ஆமா கடலுக்கு போனோமா? நான் பள்ளிக்கூடம் போக கூடாதா? நீ போக கூடாது. படிக்க கூடாதா? படிக்க கூடாது. ஏன்னா அது இந்த மாதிரி பணக்கார பசங்களுக்கு மட்டும் தான் சொல்லிட்டு இருக்கு. விளையாடவும் கூடாதா? விளையாட கூடாது. அப்ப கனவு கூட கணக்கூடாதா? இந்த மாதிரி கனவெல்லாம் பார்த்து என்னதான் கிடைக்க போகுது? இந்த மாதிரி கனவெல்லாம் பார்த்தா எல்லாரும் சொல்லுவாங்க சோம்பேறி. என்ன சொல்லுவாங்க? சோம்பேறி. இந்த மாதிரி கனவெல்லாம் பார்த்தா எல்லாரும் சொல்லுவாங்க தண்டச்சோறு. தண்டச்சோறு தெரியுதா? அதனால ஆமா தண்டச்சோறு தூங்குமுஞ்சி. தூங்குமுஞ்சின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. என்ன சொல்லுவாங்க? தூங்குமுஞ்சி. என்ன சொல்லுவாங்க? தூங்குமுஞ்சி. நீ சொல்லுவியா? நானும் சொல்லுவேன். நீ சொல்லக்கூடாதுமா. ஏன்? நீ அம்மாமா. காக்கைக்கு தன் குஞ்சு பொன் குஞ்சுமா. நான் சொல்லுவேடா. ஆமா இந்த வேலை எடுத்துக்கலாம். ஆமா கடலுக்கு போனோமா? ஒரு சொம்பு இருந்துச்சுமா. என்ன சொம்பு? ஒரு சொம்புக்குள்ள என்னடா கேட்கல? சத்தமா சொன்னா கேட்கல. அந்த காது அந்த காதுமா. ஆமா அம்மாவா காதுல பாமைக்கும் அந்த பூதம் இருக்குமா? அந்த பூதத்துக்கு அந்த சம்புக்குள்ள பூதம் இருக்குமா? எங்கடா பூதம்? அந்த சம்புக்குள்ள இருக்கு. போகாத போகாதமா. நிக்கு நான் போய் பாக்கட்டேன். போகாதமா போகாதமா. இல்ல பாக்குறேன். வெயிட் பண்ணி பாக்குறேன். அம்மா பாவ ஐயோ ஐயோ என் இடுப்பெல்லாம் போச்சே. ஐயோ இவ அப்பா வந்து முதல்ல இடுப்ப கலைஞ்சாரு, இப்ப ஏன் இடுப்பு இவரு கலைஞ்சாரு.
ஐயோ வாமா வாமா அம்மா அந்த சொம்ப வருமா இந்த இடத்துல சொம்பே பாரு. இல்ல தெரியல
எங்கடா சொம்பு?
இந்த தெரியலையா?
எங்க?
ஐயோ
எதுவும் கேட்கலடா.
மியூசிக்லாம் போடுமா? ஐயோ உனக்கு காது போச்சு கண்ணு போச்சு. அம்மா என்ன கண்ணு திறந்து பாருமா, என்ன கண்ணு திறந்து பாருமா.
ஐயோ என் பிள்ளைக்கு பைத்தியம் பிடிச்சு போயிடுச்சு. ஐயோ என் பிள்ளைக்கு பைத்தியம் பிடிச்சு போயிடுச்சு. நம்ம ஒப்பாரி பாட போறோம், எல்லாரும் சேர்ந்து பாடுங்க. கண்ணா வளர்த்த புள்ள அச்சி மறந்துட்டோம். கண்ணா வளர்த்த மணியா வளர்த்த ஆச்சே.
நீ ஒப்பாரி வைமா, நான் மூக்கு சிந்திக்கிறேன்.
பொன்னா வளர்த்த பொன்னா வளர்த்த ஆச்சே. நண்டா வளர்த்த மீனா வளர்த்த
மீனா வளர்த்த. அதனால நான் கடலுக்கு போனேன். ஏமா பாக்க எழுந்துச்சோமா?
எதுக்குடா?
ஆமா நீ நண்டா வளர்த்து மீனா வளர்த்த நான் காலேஜுக்கு போவேன், கடலுக்கு தலைமை போவேன். இங்க வாங்க எழுந்துச்சு. ஆமா இந்த வேலை எனக்கு பிடிக்காமா, சின்ன பசங்க கூட போறோமா, இந்த சூத்திரங்க போற மாதிரி நானும் போய் நாடகம் நடிக்க போறோமா, என்ன கூப்பிடாதமா வரமா.
கோரி பசங்களா, என் பையனே உங்க கூட சேர்த்துக்கிறீங்களா? நாடகம் நடிக்கிறதுக்கெல்லாம் கூட்டுறீங்களா? ஆனா நல்லா படிக்க வைக்கணும், சரியா? அவனையும் கூட எடுத்துட்டு போங்கடா. சரி பசங்களா.
அகிலன் பகிம் கோரி என்ன பண்ண தெரியுமா?
கோரி what will Gori do? Do you know what will Gori do?
ஒரு பெரிய பூதத்தை தம்மாக்கு சொம்புக்குள்ள அடைச்சி கடல்ல போட்டான்.
ஒரு பெரிய
பூதத்தை
ఒక పెద్ద తెలుగు ఒక one big ghost ni he has put it in this and he has thrown it in the ocean.
நம்ம புத்திசாலியா இருந்தா இதுயா என்ன பிரில்லியன்ட்.
If we are brilliant,
நம்ம ஒரு போல இந்த ஒரு வேறல்ல உலகத்தை வச்சுக்கலாம். இது வந்து சீக்கிரமே
if you are brilliant, one thought we can rule this whole world.
நம்ம பிரில்லியன்ட்டா?
Are we brilliant?
இவ்வளோ?
Yes.
இவ்வளோ?
So, are we brilliant?
Yes. இவ்வளோ?
How much?
So, touch the sky with one finger.
How much are we brilliant? Do we touch the sky?
Touch the sky. எல்லாம் all.
Show it.
Yes.
Show it.
Both. கனவு காணுவோம்.
கனவு காணுவோம்.
Yes, repeat. கனவு காணுவோம். கை தட்டுவோம்.
Sorry for the trouble because bus.
Okay. 6:550. Chata said he wants to send me this costume to Pondicherry. But okay, nice. There is a show at the bus. Happy World Theatre Day with you. Yay! I saw that first Caucasian circle yesterday. Our own student Kargi play. Today my small performance. Thank you for your. So.
We want to felicitate him.
I want to chat up here.
Oh!
Close. Within 10 minutes. Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next program is Theatre Adda. We will be commencing very soon. Thank you. boys and girls. A warm welcome to the third and the finale day of Shudraka Hyderabad's Multilingual Theatre Festival Xpression in association with Department of Language and Culture, Government of Telangana. We are about to start our theatre adda, and we are extremely happy and privileged and honored to have Shamik Bandyopadhyay with us. Shamik Bandyopadhyay needs no introduction, but just to say a few words, it's more for our satisfaction than really to introduce him or explain about the work that he has done. So he's a scholar, editor, publisher, translator, bibliophile, and he had been the Rabindranath Tagore National Fellow at the School of Arts and Aesthetics, JNU, member of the Publication Committee, Sangeet Natak Academy. He was vice chairman with NSD, and last but not the least, he is the founder of the foundation Boi Bhob that will be taking care of the legacy of his 40,000 plus books. And he's working closely in building up a library which will have the rarest collection of theatre books and other things. So I don't know, I'm actually short of words. So I'm cutting it short and welcome Mr. Professor Shamik Bandyopadhyay on stage. I would now like to invite Dr. Jolly Puthusari. Jolly Puthusari is a researcher and academician from Kerala. Currently, he is the head of the department of the Center for Folk and Culture Studies in the University of Hyderabad. His research on myth and drama has received a lot of attraction. His work on Surabhi theatres is a must-read for theatre practitioners. Dr. Jolly Puthusari. I would now like to invite Sohini Basu on stage. Sohini Basu is a theatre artist for more than two decades, a trained theatre practitioner from Lebedov School at the Russian Cultural Center, Kolkata. She is now part of the theatre group Shudrak. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And we commence the adda.
Sholovi, please join us. And I would just like to say that we had also invited Dr. Aparna Lanjawar from IFLU, but unfortunately she's not well, so she could not join, and she has sent her apologies. Yeah. So how do we want the theatre adda to start? Is it, I mean, also from the audience, we would like to know, would we just reflect upon Brecht's work because this year is his completion of 125th year. Should we reflect upon Brecht's work and talk about Brechtian theory, or should we make the discussion more general? Because, yeah? General would be better, okay. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I'm requesting Professor Shomik Bandyopadhyay to start the conversation.
Yeah. Well, let's be very clear right at the beginning. I'm not going to give a lecture. A lecture is something that doesn't belong to theater. Theater is more immersive. Everybody joins in. There is no division really between what happens here, up here, and down there. It has to be a constant, continuous exchange, communication, sharing between this so-called stage and out there you, the audience. It's one single community. And all through this long history of theater. Now, when we talk about the history of theater, if we go for evidence, concrete evidence, the earliest theater, which has been concretely visible, proven, is the theater of Greece in 5th century BC. It doesn't mean that that is the beginning of theater. Theater must have been all over the world, in different parts of the world, but that is the one instance where we have solid evidence. We have play texts, we have pictures, we have a whole rich body of visuals to imagine and reconstruct what happened in those even less than 100 years, but fabulous work. So we normally use that as our evidence of a model of theater, of a certain kind of theater. And then we have gone on for these years, and now when we look around the world at this point of time, I would say, we have been discussing this among friends these 3 days that I've been here in Hyderabad, that if you really come to think of it, there are about, say, a maximum of 30 odd cities, not more than that, all over the world, that can be really called theater cities, in the sense that all these cities have more than one theater, at least 5 or 6 theaters. Theaters meaning not just a theater building with a stage and an auditorium, and a solid body of actor, performers, directors, designers, a whole company, a whole theater group. So at least 5 or 6. And an audience that supports, sustains this theater. Because as I said, there's no point in having theater if you don't have a responding audience. An audience that warms up to it, demands things. If the theater is not good enough, they'll boo the audience out, boo the performers out. And there can be performers also who can be so good that they can boo a bad audience out. Performers have that strength, that power, which they can do. So there's a challenge, there's a battle, an encounter going on all the time. So that kind of a culture, that kind of an atmosphere takes time to grow, has a history. And I haven't seen all these 30 centers, of course. I've seen about 5 or 6 of them. And I've had a feeling of how many people love and adore theater, and what wide range of theaters, different kinds of theater. Sometimes pure mime, sometimes bending more towards dance, choreography, beautiful, graceful movements, sometimes martial arts, violent explosive power, actors hitting at each other, but all within the framework of art, images, life, experiences growing out of that. So it's sad that Hyderabad is not one of those 30 cities. So this is my third or fourth visit to Hyderabad. And every time I expect that I'll see theatre blooming in Hyderabad. It hasn't happened yet. So it was a wonderful festival these 3 days. Excellent plays. But one play performed 4 or 5 times, an audience just large enough to support that. Then that play goes, one doesn't know when the next play will come and how it will be. That doesn't make a theatre city. So I think our whole question, our whole quest even should be how to turn Hyderabad into a theatre city. Like Berlin, London, New York, Milan, and in India, of course, Bombay and Kolkata. Even in Kerala, which is so rich in performance and theatre. I'm making a distinction. When I talk of theatre historically, practically, it's a form that we inherited, we learned, we picked up from our colonial rulers. And it was a very particular kind of theatre, the British theatre of the 18th and 19th centuries. Not the theatre of William Shakespeare in the 17th century. That was a different kind of theatre that we didn't inherit. So we got only the 18th, 19th century theatre in London, and the British colonial rulers, as part of their education package, they introduced us to a particular kind of theatre that we adopted, adapted to accommodate and connect it with our performances, very rich traditions of performances, different performances all over the country, which were local, confined to areas, confined to their own audiences. You can't come from a different language culture in one part of India and just walk into a Kodiyattam performance and really get the whole richness of it. You need to get into it, closer to it, and there's no way we can do it if we're living somewhere else. So you need some kind of a mentoring, monitoring, somebody presenting it, somebody giving you a point of reference, helping you see the nuances, the strengths, and then slowly it starts revealing itself to you. So I have been watching theatre for 60 years. My memories go back to all these 60 years in different parts of India and in some other countries of the world, some of those theatre cities, some, only some, very few. And I try to read the very different theatres. And they're not all the British type of theatre that we inherited and we try to do. So we fall back on the performances. We try to bring the performances into our theatre, draw from them, learn from them. And great things have happened in India. Such a multifaceted country. So many languages, and every language has its own theatre, creates its own possibility of theatre. The sounds of the words are so different. The tones in which they are spoken are so different. And they have their magic, and we try to not just get the words, but also get the tones. There is theatre in the tones, the way you speak them, the way you sometimes sing the words. And the words mean different things. Not exactly the word as you read it as a printed letter. It becomes different on stage. It becomes different with the scenics around it, with whatever objects, images around on the stage. The words mean different. A word spoken there, a word spoken here will be different. So we need an audience that is able to read and respond to all these different nuances, subtleties, shades, and then theatre becomes a much richer experience. So whenever I step beyond my own language culture, which is Bangla, Bengali, I try to identify with that place, its sounds, its visuals. I try to get into it because it's an experience which is rare, which is different. And if I could get into it, even a little bit into it, if I can penetrate it, there's magic in it, there's thrill in it. And I've experienced it so many times. I've seen plays in Germany where I don't understand a single word. I don't speak German, I don't know German. And yet, it works for me. It moves me, charms me. I'm fascinated with the performance. I see an English play that I know thoroughly, that I've read, that I have taught as a teacher when I taught in college or university, and I see it being enacted in German. It's a different experience altogether. It's not just Shakespeare's Hamlet. It's something else. The German location, the German actor, the German sounds, the completely different sounding language, German. But all those play, and it becomes a different Hamlet. It's not Shakespeare's Hamlet written in the 1590s. It's something else in 2014 in Berlin. So, trying to make theatre different, special, theatre happening right when it happens here, and the happening is something that brings you, the audience, into it, your reading, your response to it. So, what I think, an experience like, say, these 3 days of a multilingual theatre festival in Hyderabad. Why do I come here? Because I want to get these feelings. A play being done in 3 languages, or even 4. There is English, there is Telugu, there is Bangla, there is Hindi. All of these coming together. I don't get all the words. But in the action, in the energies, in the faces as they change, even the skin colors, different skin colors, one against the other, one matching, an image comes to life, a moving, actional image. There is magic in it, there is a thrill in it. I respond to it. And when I don't understand the language, and I come to respond to the first shades of it, I feel a desperate urge, a desire to get deeper into it, to penetrate it. It becomes a challenge to me. And that makes what I was calling an encounter. I sitting there, I don't speak this language, but what happens there captures me, captivates me. Or when the play comes from Kerala, directed by a very old, loving friend, Nilaman Singh Chaudhary, whom I have seen perform in Punjab, in Chandigarh. I have taught at the Chandigarh University, where she teaches, used to teach, when she was teaching there. She doesn't speak Malayalam. She doesn't follow Malayalam totally. But when 4 Malayalam-speaking actors approach her, she works with them and creates something And out of a play written in Urdu, another language altogether, Satatasan Manto, and something happens. The energies, the expressions of violence, cruelty, how men and women supposed to be so close, sharing the same life, how they can turn violent, ruthless, destructive, hurtful, beat each other, struggle with each other, can be inhuman even. And we saw those energies displayed. The violence of that, the cruelty of that. And then again, sharing a meal, being friends again, coming back into a community which had broken up, been shattered. So the way experiences happen, travel, how to create that, create an audience for that. Saurabhi has been an old friend for some months, just a few months old friendship. So the first thing I ask her, when she asks me, well, how did you react to our production? I said, before I answer that, I said, I was hurt when I found that the house was not full. Why weren't there more people here? It's a shame. With all that you bring in here, why are there not enough takers? So how do we get the takers? How do we create the takers? The takers should live up to the theatre that is being done here. It's a shame if they can't take it, if they're not there. It's not something for which the performers should be embarrassed or awkward. They didn't come to watch us. Oh no. It's a shame for those who didn't come. And it will be your job, those who loved, enjoyed, responded to the theatre, to go back and tell your friends, your neighbors, your relatives that you lost something. It's a shame that you're not there. Next time, be there. It's a responsibility. You grow as a human being. You become a better human being. You become a more sensitive, feeling human being than what you are at this moment. That is our challenge. That is what we give you. You better come here and take it from us. It's not you being kind to us or benevolent to us and doing us a favor on the theatre. We are giving you much more. And you should value it, learn to value it. So, this is the spirit of struggle, confrontation, not selling our stuff here, but demanding response, claiming response, to turn Hyderabad into another theatre city, where there would be several groups doing different kinds of theatre, different sentiments, feelings. The British theatre that we inherited with their education system was not a particularly glorious theatre, the theatre of the 18th century. Because what had happened, you know, and this is how history also shapes, influences, sometimes spoils theatre. This was a period, sometimes I play with these little facts of history, dates, interesting dates. 1616, that is in the 17th century, the beginning of the 17th century, that is the year when William Shakespeare died. 1616 was also the year that a British officer called Sir Thomas Roe, who was the director of the East India Company, a business company, who came and met in Delhi the Emperor Jahangir in 1616, the year Shakespeare died. And you know the Mughal Badshahs, Jahangir, Shah Jahan, Babur, Alamgir, all of them, they were very concerned about documenting, recording their times and their happenings. So you have a Jahangir Nama, which is an official diary maintained by officers of what was happening in the royal court and in the country, with painters illustrating them, even the events, and wonderful books. The Jahangir Nama, the Babur Nama, the Shah Jahan Nama. So in the Jahangir Nama, there is an elaborate reporting of what happened that day. Now, it is a royal darbar. Huh? And in the darbar, you have hierarchies. Obviously, if you're a commoner, you're a common man, you can't come too close to the Badshah. He's the Mughal Badshah, of course. So he is surrounded in very close quarters. There would be the noblemen, the rich landowners, the zamindars, the big shots. So they sit closer to the king. The others, according to their place level in the hierarchy, they sit in the distance. The chairs, seats are different. So that's how it is laid out, the darbar, the royal court. Now, right at the back, according to the description there, where the people enter, say at the end of this auditorium, say, people enter from there. So there you have to take off your shoes because you're coming close to the Badshah. So the place where you take off your shoes, and these people, they took a lot of masala, zarda, pan, chewing it. So before they come into the darbar, they have to spit out all those things, and come with a clean mouth because they're approaching the king. So there is a spitting bowl out there where they spit out all the waste and then come in. So the place where you leave your shoes, and next to it this big spit bowl, and immediately next to it is a seat for this sahab, strange looking white man who has come from some strange country out there. Nobody knows much about that country. So Sir Thomas Roe sits just next to the spit bowl and the shoes. That's his position here. And there on that day, he receives the sanad, the charter that allows the East India Company to collect revenue, taxes from people all over the country. Because the Mughal Badshah doesn't have the manpower to send people throughout the country and gather all the taxes. So the Britishers say, well, we'll take care of that. We'll collect the revenue for you. We'll travel into the interior of the country. And we'll have a cut. We'll have a commission. We'll have a share. And in the process, they go deep into the country and find out whatever this country produces, various kinds of fruits, masala, wood, different kinds of wood, even metals, minerals. So the whole of the country, they can explore, they can identify these things, they can plunder and loot from us and bring this whole country under their command. So this whole history begins in 1616, the year Shakespeare is dying. So look at the connections. And it took a minimum of 4 months, that period of time, for somebody from Britain to come to India by ship. The seas had not been mapped out properly. So people didn't know where there would be a hidden cliff or a whirlpool, where if your ship comes in, and these ships are made of wood, steel hadn't come into existence. So they would just be sucked up by the whirlpool, and it will go under and finished. All those people and everything that is being carried in the ships. So it was risky, and the time taken, minimum 4 months, sometimes 6 months. A ship would get lost in the seas, lose its direction. So difficult to rule this country from that distance with all these risks. Yet to come, because there is profit here, there is money here. And this they're doing not just in India. They're doing it in Australia, they're doing it throughout Africa, throughout the American continent. And Britain is becoming stronger and stronger with whatever it loots from these countries, brings over. And British power grows. British capital grows. And as British capital grows, they start making profits. The things that they take from India, from Africa, from Australia, they create the technology to make machines out of them, to turn the raw materials like iron and manganese and chromium and bring them together and turn them into steel, strong steel, that doesn't break that easily, that doesn't crack that easily. And as they become powerful, capitalism grows, capital grows, very rich people with a lot of capital. And there comes a point of time when the actor also starts feeling, a popular actor, well, if all these people, these big businessmen can become big businessmen by investing capital, by putting money and producing, creating factories, etc., I also can sell my acting. I can invest my acting into a business. So theatre becomes an actor's business. So the actor buys up a theatre 100 years after 1616, in 1717, for the first time in the history of the world, an actor, a British actor called David Garrick, has become a popular actor. He's a good actor, very good actor. So he decides to make business out of his acting. So his reputation, his star value, he decides, let me invest that. So he buys up a theatre. He becomes an actor manager. He's not just an actor, actor-manager. A new English word comes into being. No longer an actor and manager, but an actor cum manager, actor-manager. A new word altogether. So now he decides to sell himself. So he doesn't much care about the plays he's doing. He decides that I have to create a theatre where people will come to see me and see how good an actor I am. Because I have invested my reputation, what I've earned as an actor all these years, and bought up this theatre. Therefore, I sell myself. So a very different kind of theatre comes into being. The story of the play, the different features of the play, these become of secondary importance. The big actor comes on stage. All the other actors become minor actors. They are there only to show up this actor, the single actor. So a whole different kind of theatre comes into being. The actor-oriented theatre. In the plays that I have seen in these 3 days, there was only one play, the Bangla play, which centered on one actor. But think of the other plays. We were not looking at any one actor standing above the others or treating the others as just a supporting cast. It was a whole team, a whole community, putting all their energy together, breaking up into groups, one group against another, one group helping the other to come to another level. So it's a different kind of theatre. A theatre which is what we call an ensemble theatre, a team theatre, a group theatre, and at the other end is that theatre of the actor-manager, the actor who is the Malik of the theatre, and it's a Malik's theatre, which is still there. There are such theatres also in our country, which is another theatre, and which is a theatre which is something that began in the 18th century when these big, new, rich community, they came to dominate society. So as the world becomes democratic, as the world starts feeling that we do not care for one single ruler to dictate terms, to take away our freedom to criticize, our right to criticize, and impose his law, his face, his image all over the place. That's the actor-manager theatre turned into a state now. And as Democrats, we don't want it. We're against it. So we have to fight for, because that theatre is still there. That theatre has gone into the Bombay cinema also, where you go to watch a film for so-and-so. The rest of the actors are, all of them supporting cast. So that is a theatre that we have to unmake, reject, and resurrect this theatre. The theatre where the whole experience, the lights, the makeup, the visual images, the pictures that are created by the actors in the different positions, layers, where they stand, the way they stand, the way to relate to the others, the way they touch the others even. A theatre that grows, lives, happens, rather than one man turning into a big statue to be revered. That's the old English theatre, a bad, sick English theatre, not the theatre of Shakespeare's time. So this theatre was rejected by England also in the early 20th century. But we fell into that trap for years. So it's time that different experiments for a theatre of a community, of more people together, sharing, building it together, creating something together. That becomes the central direction. And our own language, the language of the place, the language that the local people speak. If it is a city like Hyderabad where people speak different languages, have a multilingual play, and it worked. It worked even if I missed so many words. But the meaning still emerged. With the action, with the commitment, with the power that all the actors as an ensemble, as a team, brought into bear. She was starting with the point that if we could start with Bertolt Brecht. And I said, no. It's very interesting that 1898 is a year in which Bertolt Brecht was born. The play Caucasian Chalk Circle that you did is by Bertolt Brecht. He was born in 1898. But in 1898 itself, the Moscow Art Theatre was also born, the same year. And with the Moscow Art Theatre, the director was Konstantin Stanislavski, the Moscow Art Theatre created history because Stanislavski was a rich man. He had his own big place, and he had his private theatre, had enough space, created his own theatre, invited his friends, aristocrats, rich people, the elite of Moscow, and was doing good theatre. But he felt very, very uncomfortable. He wasn't feeling happy. Theatre had to reach more people, not just his friends and patrons and his community. And theatre must be an experience where different actors with different looks, different voices, different bodies would come together and create an experience. So this very successful, with all the resources and everything, doesn't have to go about raising funds the way you have to do. Nothing of the sort. Very comfortable. And felt uncomfortable in spite of that. So he shoots off a letter to a theatre critic whom he doesn't know well enough. But this theatre critic comes, watches his plays, reviews, admires him but criticizes him also. So writes him a letter, a man called Vladimir Nemirovich Danchenko. This is in 1897, just a year before the Moscow Art Theatre comes into being. Shoots off a letter to him and says, can we meet one afternoon at a particular restaurant at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? So Nemirovich Danchenko says, okay. So they meet in this restaurant. They begin a conversation at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. One afternoon in 1897. The conversation continues till 1 o'clock in the afternoon the next day. A few hours less than 24 hours, roughly 18 hours. And it had started in a restaurant. Naturally, the restaurant would close for the night. So when it closed, they had the dinner. They went on talking, just the two of them. And then they took a carriage, a horse-drawn carriage. The railways hadn't come yet. So they went out of Moscow. A little outside Moscow, Stanislavski had his place. So they spent the whole night talking till next morning, breakfast, beyond breakfast. And by then, they had come to this idea of a Moscow Art Theatre. And one of the first principles of the Moscow Art Theatre was that, because Stanislavski is already a popular actor, a big actor, but he says that every decision for this Moscow Art Theatre group, the entire group will come together and talk about it, about the casting, about every detail. And Nemirovich Danchenko, who doesn't act, who doesn't write plays, he's a critic, he's an outsider, but loves the theatre, watches the theatre very closely, very critically also, finds the faults, discovers the strengths and the strong points and glorifies them, asks people to come over and watch it, see it, how wonderful it is. So Stanislavski says, for every final decision, in every single matter, the two have to come to an agreement. If they can't agree, it won't happen. So an insider and an insider who is totally involved in it, and an outsider who loves it, admires it, adores it, but is an outsider. So he watches. He has a little bit of a distance. So they must agree. They must argue, talk, and then come to an agreement. So now the theatre will not fall into that trap of the one big actor taking over and using all the others as useless material. So that is the beginning of the Moscow Art Theatre, 1898. The next year it comes into being. 1898 is also the year that a man called Sergei Eisenstein is born, whom we consider the father of modern cinema. A cinema which doesn't allow the Hollywood star to become prominent, but cinema in all its meaningfulness comes to life. Again, 1898. 1898 is also the year that a Spanish poet was born called Federico García Lorca, a fabulous poet and a playwright who was killed by the fascists in 1936 in Spain, brutally killed. But he has left behind his plays, and he drew. When he wrote his plays, he imagined the plays as visual experiences. So he imagined the scenes and he drew them. He drew sketches. He was an artist also, a poet and an artist, and a theatre person. So his theatre becomes more visual than just an actor speaking out and throwing his voice up there. So in 1890, and then of course Bertolt Brecht, playwright, director, who have done his play, where that great, a whole play really building upon that sequence, where how do you know who the real mother is? The mother who will not let her child be hurt at all, in no way whatsoever. So if she's hurt in the matter, well, I don't want her. Because I value her life, I value her body, I value her essence. That's most important. So with all the battle, with all the distrust, with all everything, the mother's commitment to her daughter, that becomes so central, so vital. And what a moment of theatre is created out of an old Chinese story, becomes a modern play. So we celebrate 1898 because all these different possibilities of theatre, of a modern theatre, not the theatre of the big old actors, that is opened up. And I would still look forward. I'll be 84 in June, so I don't know how long I'll be around to watch theatre, but I've watched 60 years of theatre. I'd still like to go on watching, and I would like to come back to Hyderabad and see Hyderabad, not overnight maybe, but turning into a theatre city with so many different kinds of theatre and full houses. Thank you.
Yeah, just, yeah, we'll just, Shamikda has taken us to different layers of possibilities with lots of expectations to make Hyderabad a city of, a theatre city. And in Hyderabad, people know that there are many diverse groups work, like many diverse kinds of population comes and settle in Hyderabad. Hyderabad is one of the safest and friendliest city. But still, it does not have that most human act in the world, that is theater. Because Hyderabad most often has plays, playwrights, playgoers. But the directors owns their own group. They don't even share their audience. So that is one of the biggest issue in Hyderabad. So you are proposing a interesting evangelization by the group members themselves propagating, making it visible and bringing their own audience and democratically building in as an ensemble act. That's a wonderful idea. And if the ensemble gets into the others, the theater will have that, as you begin with, the immersive effect, which is that values play clearly says. It is very much immediate. He immediately improvise certain things which is possible in Ravindra Bharathi or anywhere. And it is also very much involving. He made the Sutraga, the generation and the audience to involve and interact. And it is so intimate also. So this immediacy and involvement, if that can empower the group, the next generation to bring in more and more audience, we can definitely hope, Hyderabad can become a city with lots of hope. So that is one of the interesting things which we can do. And Shudraga is doing effort. And I think this is in the recent month, this is the third or fourth festival happening in Hyderabad. But everywhere it is like, as the Hyderabad is a city with lots of satellite city centers, the travel is a little issue, connectivity. So it happens, but there's a coherence is not happening, like coherent work. And it was always people, as you rightly said, people fall into the trap of stardom, the actor managers and the one and only, So that needs to be broken away. The theater should entertain and as well as elucidate and also empower each and every one. That should make it should happen. So if the generation, if the people like Mandal and if the other people take it up very open-heartedly, it will definitely happen. And Hyderabad has that potential. That's what I felt. I'm not a Hyderabadi. I appropriated myself into Hyderabad. I'm basically from Kerala. But in my appropriation, I can understand Hyderabad can be adopted and, adorably make it better.
May I ask you a question? Yeah. I'm just curious. In my study of Indian theatre and probing into Indian theatre for all these years, a very interesting phenomenon, which was a byproduct, in a sense, of the British theatre that was imported here and became the model for many years and still is a legacy against which we have to fight to democratize theatre and the team coming into place, the point that I was making. There was one tradition that grew in India of the traveling theatre. And historically, it began in Bombay with the Parsi theatre. The Parsis, as a community, originally Iranians who came to do business in India, and the western coast of India is a smoother coast than the other coastlines of India, the western coast. And therefore, it was easier to bring in ships there. So Bombay, Surat, even smaller places, they became ports. You can't have ports anywhere you like. So there must be cleavages in the body of the continent, and then the ships can come in, the water would be the right level and so on. So that's the reason the western coast was more accessible, more useful for the traders coming from abroad. So one of the earliest trading communities to come in were the Iranians, the Persians from Middle East. And they started setting up the harbors, the first harbors, and they were moving into the country and collecting again, like the British later on, collecting various kinds of things which can be exported, taken over outside. Then some of them settled there, and they are the Parsis. So that's how the name comes in. And one of the major figures in the history of modern Indian theatre, Ibrahim Al-Qazi, was a Parsi. And a Parsi family and a business trading family, traditionally from 3 generations. For years, he couldn't speak Hindi. He had to, not even Urdu. And they had private tutors at home to teach the children Urdu. And that's how he learned Urdu and Hindi later on. But, so, by the time the British came, long after the Persians, the Iranians and the Parsis had settled here and become Indians, an Indian community, the Parsis, no longer Iranians. When the British came, the Parsis were not totally dependent on the Brits or serving the Brits. They were businessmen themselves and well established there. So they were dealing with the Britishers at a level of equality. So when the Parsis started taking interest in theatre, which is a British import, they felt that they were sharing something with the British. Not something that they had just learned from the British and now carry on. Because the master class, the ruling class, they're giving it to us and asking us to, well, this is theatre for you. So Parsis were sharing it. So that was the attitude. They set up their own theatre house, their company, and the good businessmen, so they soon realized, and Bombay was not a theatre city at that point of time. So you do a play, you put a lot of things into it, good entertainment, good story, good acting, no single actor business, because that hadn't come from Britain yet. It was their own theatre still, drawing on the local musical traditions of Maharashtra and Gujarat, bringing all them in, very, very musically rich, dance rich, the pawada and other local forms of dance, they were being used. A very different kind of theatre, no big hero theatre. That they were doing, but they found that the audience was not large enough. So they could do, say, 10 shows, 20 shows, their audience enough for that. And Bombay was not a big crowded city yet. So what do they do now? And all the labor, all the effort, all the money that had gone into it. So they decided that after the first 20 shows or 10 shows or whatever, they would move out from Bombay, go to the next small town and do the play there. So over the years, the Parsi theatre became a very interesting phenomenon because they're businessmen and solid businessmen. They knew they were treating theatre as business, but serious business. So what they would do, they would go to the next town from Bombay, say it's about 20 miles away, and get local people interested in it, people in other business, etc., make them invest some money. The Parsi theatre, they're making good business in Bombay. They've made some money. So they would put their money into it and set up a small theatre house there. A small town. So if you have a 300-seat auditorium, you can, and if you can run 5 shows, 6 shows in that theatre, enough for that small place. So you have a theatre now. So another group from Bombay can also come there and perform for 7 days or 8 days at a stretch. So a different kind of, so not stuck in your own city, but traveling from one place to another. And there you set up theatre so that you can use lights and all the properties of theatre, not just starting out anywhere. So the Parsis eventually, over the years, managed to set up smaller theatres, 300 seaters, 350 seaters, in a chain, beginning in Bombay, then moving through Maharashtra, Gujarat, through Maharashtra, coming to the point where Maharashtra meets Karnataka and Kerala. So they start moving into these areas, and the Parsi theatre tradition grows, and as it travels, as it goes to a place where even the language is different. Say when you cross through Maharashtra and get into Karnataka, map-wise they connect. And say there is this district called Dharwad, which is a wonderful meeting place of so many languages, cultures, traditions, styles. Dharwad is the city of the great singer Gangubai Hangal. Dharwad is the city where my dead friend, a very close friend, Girish Kannad, was born and lived most of his life in Dharwad. Dharwad is the place where Bhimsen Joshi lived a large part of his life. And Bhimsen Joshi began his career in the traveling theatre. And I have heard Bhimsen Joshi ji, when he sings in Calcutta, used to sing in Calcutta, there he would sing his khyals, and the end of his khyals he would sing a bhajan, maybe a tumri and then 2 or 3 bhajans. But when I heard him in Pune on 2 or 3 occasions, he wouldn't end with a bhajan. He would sing his 2 khyals, and after the khyals, he would sing a Natta Sangeet. Because in the traveling theatre, in the Parsi theatre, Bhimsen Joshi would be an actor-singer, and he would be singing on stage. And just imagine an actor, a singer of the brilliance and reputation of Bhimsen Joshi, acting a role which gives him a chance to sing, and that's part of the theatre. And to what heights the music can reach and become part of the theatre. He was not just singing as Bhimsen Joshi, he was doing a role. And I've seen wonderful actors in the Marathi theatre, even now in the professional Marathi theatre, who are fabulous singers, classical singers trained. So a very different kind of theatre through the traveling. So these musical traditions are absorbed by the theatre. And then the same tradition moves into, through Karnataka and comes even into Andhra and closer to Telangana with other theatre groups. And I've seen this wonderful actress, B. Jayashree, and the kind of theatre to which she belongs. So these are all traveling theatres, and the traveling theatres pick up, embrace, include forms, conventions, musical conventions, acting conventions, even magic from these different regions, all become absorbed in the theatre. Theatre is a form which can use so much of it. Just before we started talking, you saw the genius that gets into this white-faced mask face, and what wonders you can do with that. So theatre has this possibility again, another possibility, of moving through spaces, acquiring elements, features, and creating audiences automatically. Those audiences would identify with these elements in your theatre. So be open to these other elements, not just what you get handy. The moment you start traveling, you can learn and bring things and enrich your theatre. Theatre also had that possibility.
Thank you. The Telangana region, Hyderabad especially, boasts of a traveling theatre called Surabhi. Well, what exactly happened to it is the earlier times of verbality has changed into a kind of a visuality, which is much more materially relied, tread. So they lost the verbality. The verbality was the crux for them to have the rhythm to grow. And as you know, in Indian theatre, there's no new playwrights, no plays are happening, neither the directors lost belief in the so-called playwriting. So they take it as a process and procedure which can be dictated by them. So, and the visuality started coming in. So in due course of time, the transport and the visuality, the carrying the visuality, and it was very difficult for them. So that's why it becomes slowly redundant. So that itinerary theaters, which was very much prominent, which was highly entertaining, which had its own fun and frolic and, you know, magical function. Yeah, that has been a little bit lost because of the materiality, and the materiality cannot cope up with the digitality of what we see. These children will not even see a 60s movie. They will see a 4K movie. They will think that this is visually not good because it doesn't communicate with them. They feel a little estranged. So that is one of the issues. So the visuality dictates many things. In your talk, you have brought in so many things. So as a theater student, I can relate it with that, you know, the paradoxes which you bring in, and interestingly connecting Lorca and Brecht and connecting their duality with Nevchenko and Stanislavski, etc., etc. It was so wonderful to hear you. I will hand over to them. We have less time.
No,
There's a question. Yeah, let's take it.
In this context, thought crossing my mind that it may not be just a one-directional journey, especially as we are hearing or reading in the different forum, in the news and etc., this artificial intelligence emerging. And I was surprised to listen to some song, recent song, being sung by Kishore Kumar or Muhammad Rafi, and it looks like it's really Kishore Kumar singing this new song. Very interestingly, it may lead to a point.
Sir.
I believe that people will really appreciate a human being really performing. And I have noticed it in the US that the live shows are superbly expensive. People pay a very high price for one ticket because it's a live show. It is not a screenplay. So when the screen play has a different kind of change that it is now looking at, maybe the stage theater would find a revival. We have seen the kind of radio gone out of favor and then FM coming back in a very different way. Probably it just was crossing my mind as I was listening to you that maybe we are at the juncture where stage theater and live performance will be seen as a very different way, as a very novelty where I can get real human interaction, human feeling, because we are in the end human being. However much AI tries to influence our mind, we will probably start reappreciating it in a very different way. Just crossed my mind. If any of you have a perspective in that, I'd like to hear from you. Thank you.
All that I would like to add in response to the observations is that somewhere in this whole history of performance, theatre, its local variations that we have been sharing here, you can't make any prediction that this is the route that performance theatre will take. Even with artificial intelligence, it will have its career, have its route, and there will be the demand again. Once you have just too much of it, too much of this robots and robotics and everything, there would be a kind of reaction to it. And you come back to the normal, living, fleshly human body in action, in movement, not those dead, dry, synthetic bodies. So there is always this unceasing human desire for something different, for a departure. That has ensured human evolution. That is the running principle of human evolution itself, and the evolution of technology, the evolution of art, everything. So I never think that something has come to a dead end and people will reject it now and go for something else and this will be written off. The old Greek plays are being staged afresh. Shakespeare's Hamlet is being done all the time, all over the world, and in so many different manners. I saw Hamlet in 2014 in Berlin, a fabulous Hamlet. And I'm in Kolkata, a very exciting new young group. They've taken on to do Hamlet. They'll be working on Hamlet for 6 months. And I've been reading Hamlet with them, word by word, and talking with the whole group of 31 people. They want to get into the core of the play before they start rehearsing. The director and the group. They're not starting with a ready-made structure, plan, anything. They're opening themselves up to the text of the play. A play in English. There are several actors in this group who do not know English. So I read in English, I go on doing a rough Bangla translation, interpreting, going into its nuances, its histories. So they'll be working through that long process. Meanwhile, it will be doing other productions. But that challenge is there. They're doing different plays in different ways, in different approaches. So different possibilities of theatre, even the same group. So this possibility, this whole range of possibilities, the width of possibilities is just fantastic in theatre. Just fantastic.
I think we are reaching the time, so we just wanted to, still the questions are welcome. But I really wanted to say, always as a person, I keep thinking the theatre centers around some P, players and playgoers. Same way, theatre centers around another set of P that is like, is it a passion? Is it the passion which makes you to do theatre? Or is it the profession? Is it a profession really? Or is it the process which hooked you up? So many of the time, it is three in different ways and means. Sometimes it is a hallucination that theatre becomes a profession that makes you to go, and the passion takes you grow on. But most of the time, it is the process in which, we all get indulged in. We all grow together, share together, and involve. That makes us grow. So whatever it is, it always have that possibility of living together. That is the life of theatre. Thank you so much.
I do have a lot of questions. Professor, you know, when you have Professor Bodhopadhyay sitting next to you, you have endless questions conjuring up.
I'm Dr. S.K. Chaudhary. I'm a scientist, but not a man in your field. But I have been with the theaters right from the beginning. I feel something is missing. The ambience makes the theater better. I have seen Somamitro performing in Golconda Fort on the top, the Galileo. I saw the Galileo in Calcutta, but when the ambience is slightly different, I've seen it has given a new dimension. That is point number one. So ambience create. Sometime back in Hyderabad also, I think Shopon knows, we brought a drama, Pauruti O Jholagur of Badal Sarkar. We performed on the Secondabad road. Shopon was there with me. I remember Badal Sarkar's, that one was wonderful. So this sort of a thing I think was missing. Then in Calcutta, when we are performing in our childhood days, and IPTA, obviously, you have not mentioned, you have talked about the Maharashtrian theatre, but IPTA being a revolutionary trend in the Calcutta side. The theatres they used to perform is something. And then Brecht came in the year of 1969, and the Palagan, I mean, that sort of thing, it gave new life to theatre. And then I agree with the comment of Somamitro that theatre is nothing but a complete art. The meaning of complete art means, yesterday I saw the Keralian drama. It is that people are gymnastic, their body are so fit. So it is not complete music, other things. It is also the physical activities. That also is important in theatre. I thought these three, I can hear from Shamit Babu. I think I'm not a knowledgeable person, but I have my observation. Because I started some drama festival in Hyderabad. I'm very surprised. That time you are questioning, it is to be full house. Full house. There is a drama competition all India as well as local. It became like Mohan Mahani's Bengal match between Secondabad and Hyderabad. I don't know why it is losing now. I'm talking of 1970 and 1980. I think the television is having some effect. Thank you.
I just, are there any questions from the audience? If not, I have one question. I mean, I have many, but I would be asking one now for the time being. No, since Prabuddha raised the question of, the issue of AI, I would like to know what is your take on, meshing digital means in theater with the whole concept of liveness of theater. I mean, do these two things really mesh? Because there's a lot of experiments going on now around the world in which digital means are being used in theater to popularize theater. In fact, I was very surprised when Berlin Ensemble advertised for productions which used only digital means in theater. I mean, the whole concept of, the liveness of theater, which we generally talk about so much, I mean, and which we say is the strength of theater, is it being diluted with the use of the digital means in theater coming into being?
Now, the way I look at it is that another new area of experimentation is opening up. The digital and the human body in action, in confrontation, one against the one, set against the other. People, when they're available, when both are available, I don't find anything wrong in working with both together on the same stage and find out what happens. The human action can at one point even be a critique of the total digitalization, mechanization, standardization, and the control, the liveness getting lost. So one can make a play, but one to create that impression of the power of liveness, if I use artificial intelligence in my production and show the clash between the two, the clash between the digital culture, the digital way of looking at life, and the more bodily, physical, uncontrollable, irrepressible use of the body, where the body is not under control, but the digital does control the body. So one can, in my imagination, I can think of wonderful theater emerging out of this clash of cultures at this point of time. Why not? I'd love to see some of these adventurous works. That possibility remains.
Just adding on to what you said, of course, it's an experimental way of looking at theater. But do you think then in the process, small groups which do not have enough resources, like for example, Shudraka Hyderabad, who probably would like to experiment with digital means if they have the financial means or if they are backed up by financial means, would these small groups in Mofusshals in West Bengal and in Hyderabad, where the whole culture of theater is not as popular as it is in other theater cities, would these small groups fall back? Would these small groups would not be able to confront this new experimental way of doing theater? Would this act as an obstacle for them?
Of course, if a group doesn't have the means, the economic means, the money, to avail of or access that technology, obviously they can't do it. As simple as that. So they have to do their kind of theater, and there will always be the scope, the possibility for different theaters. We never talk of one single theater for a community. A community is a very, very diverse concept, the community. So community has different tastes, different sections of the community, cross sections. So obviously, these theater groups would have to do their kind of work. The other thing, we don't have time here to talk about it to that extent, but something that is not there in our country, nobody talks about these things, but what has happened over the years is that in the 30-odd theater cities, as I mentioned, in most of these 30 cities, not all, the state has come forward in a big way to stand by theater. So the state takes care of, say, 2 theaters or 3 theaters or 4 theaters, according to the extent, the demands, the needs, the range, etc., etc. Say, London has the National Theatre, which is completely maintained by the state, and the National Theatre itself, the National Theatre complex itself, has 3 theatres in the same complex. 3 different sizes, 3 different ways of handling theatre, etc., etc. Berlin has 4 official state theatres, including Brecht's Balloon Ensemble. It is a state theatre now, fully supported by the state with professional people on the payroll, all of them on the payroll kind of thing. Now, this is a concept that has not come to India, and I don't think that our state is aware of this. It's a shame that our state is insensitive. I find our state subcultural, if not uncultured. And I go back to another great playwright thinker who once said, Jean-Paul Sartre, at one point he said, at times, treason, protesting, denying your own state becomes your moral duty. So in this case, the way the state, our state, treats theatre is something that I condemn. And if that is not being patriotic enough, well, I'm not patriotic enough. Theatre is that important. But that is happening in several countries of the world, that the state comes forward, and the Berliner Ensemble has not lost in Berlin. Germany is also a capitalist country, a strong capitalist country, one of the world's most stable capitalist economies, where the Berliner Ensemble does Brecht's plays with all the power, with all the intensity, with all the critique of capitalism. And the state pays every actor and the director. That happens. So there is still this possibility, and that there should be such theatres as one kind of model. There would be the non-professional theatre as another model, and only then different kinds of theatres and even mobility between these different kinds of theatres can happen. Some actor can go over to the professional theatre. It doesn't mean that it's a sellout. The professional theatre gives other opportunities, other kinds of disciplines, other kinds of masterpieces have been done in the professional theatre. And masterpieces have been done in the non-professional theatre, the more struggling theatre. So all these possibilities are there in the theatre, and the more flourishing of possibilities that theatre can allow of is what we would dream of.
Look, I have to play devil now because I have to and I'm so sorry. I will not be able to encourage any more questions from the audience because I think our group is getting a little, it's getting a little jittery. Okay, maybe one last, but make it very quick, please.
Yeah, my question is, I'm sorry I could not meet you in the morning, and I missed that opportunity. One thing is, when people are talking about artificial intelligence, I think there's a planned intelligence also. I think you will understand it in the sense that when you're talking about people, the states are monitoring the drama, right? And that is where the planned intelligence come into the place. When you try to push your agenda into the drama through the states, right? And that's what probably what Berlin is doing. Do you think that is possible in our country? When we have our multiple agendas to push through the drama teams as well, which you have seen at this point of time, which is happening. What is your thought on that?
It is too complex for me, so I would be still open to thinking and questioning myself. It's becoming very, very complex, and I don't know, frankly.
Well, as I said, I'm playing devil here because I'm breaking off this conversation. I have to because as a group, we have a commitment. Okay, there is another group waiting to perform. They have come from Rajasthan, Rangbasani. So they will be performing Maharathi in Rajasthani. So I have to say now, Yeah, thank you so much. I really cannot thank you enough, Shomikda and Dr. Jolly, because you have, yeah, the applause says is all. I mean, I went on a journey myself when you were talking about, like, you know, all those different, like 1616 and I mean, from Greek, yeah. Sorry, yes, from Greek. So I was really traveling through time and, you know, all those visuals were there in front of me. And thank you so much for that journey. It was really a treat. And no amount of thank you is good enough. And thank you so much, sir, for putting in the right questions and showing you too. So thank you, audience. We would now like to invite Shopon Mondol to come on stage for felicitating our dignitaries. Can someone come here and just carry it? A small token of love from Shudrak Hyderabad. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's tea outside, so kindly
starting our final play shortly. The play is Bharathi from Rang Mastane, Jaipur, Rajasthan. Rang Mastane is a group founded by Sangeet Natak Academy Award winner Abhishek Mudgal, and it is an eminent group of Rajasthan. It started its journey in 2011 and has produced 68 plays till date. Rang Mastane has extended the boundaries of theatre and performance by discovering new languages of theatrical expression, formulating different structures of performance space, and taking theatre to the most outlying and improbable of contexts. For the group, theatre is a democratic arena where everyone engages in the creative enterprise, including the audience. The group's work continuously questions established geocultural assumptions and turns the theatre into a meeting place of diverse cultures, languages, spaces, philosophies, and beliefs. The director of this play, Abhishek Mudgal, is one of those important young theatre makers whose unique work has been acclaimed both within and outside the state of Rajasthan. Born in Jaipur, Rajasthan, he graduated from the Department of Dramatics, University of Rajasthan. In 2011, he founded his own theatre company, Rang Mastane. His productions of Hayavandana, Mahabharat, Oeskar Bagi, Dulari Bai, and Ramdhari Singh Dinkar's Rash Maitri stand testimony to the range and versatility of his directorial ventures. In 2012, he was awarded the prestigious Ministry of Cultural Scholarship for Young Artists for his research on the different styles of acting, which he trained more than 100 actors of Rajasthan. As part of a larger mission of life, he has built a theatre space at his theatre guru's house in order to build more audience towards folk theatre. His experience of Indian folk theatre and an astute sense of judgment made his contributions to Rang Rajasthani International Arts Festival of Rajasthan from 2015 till now invaluable. He has directed more than 40 performances of folk music, dance, and theatre. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Presenting you the play Bharathi, which is based on the life of Karna from Mahabharata. Stay tuned. Thank you.
कैसे हाउस लाइट आप जो है ना
Gentlemen, the play Maharathi by Rang Mastane.
राजनो आज से 1 महीना पहले शुरू हुआ ये महापर्व में देश विदेश से पधारो सैकड़ों योद्धाओं ने अपने पौरुष बल का प्रदर्शन किया और आज ये पर्व का अंतिम दिन है जब सैकड़ों योद्धाओं ने हरा विजयी हुए महारथी का सम्मान किया जा सी। मैं राजगुरु आचार्य द्रोणाचार्य हस्तिनापुर रे श्रेष्ठ पुरुष पितामह भीष्म और बालक धृतराष्ट्र सौजन्य से योद्धाओं रे इस महापर्व रे सम्मान दिवस की घोषणा करता हूँ। अद्भुत असंभव संसार सचर अचर जीव अजीब सुने मैं आचार्य द्रोण ब्रह्मांड रा जनक पालक विनाशक ने नमन कर अग्नि जल वायु ने साक्षीमान और पांडव पुत्र अर्जुन ने त्रिकाल में त्रिलोक का सर्वश्रेष्ठ धनुर्धर घोषित करता हूँ।
ठहरो। मैं तने चुनौती दे हूं अर्जुन।
ठहरो। इस राज्य रंगशाला में थारा स्वागत है जरी पुरुष। निसंदेह थारा यह प्रदर्शन देख मैं चकित हूँ। ये हटाई स्तब्ध सही शब्द हो सी मने बेहद घड़ो आश्चर्य है कि तृण चोखो धनुर्धर हालता ही छिपिया की वे रहा पुरुषार्थ रेस पर्व में पौरुष प्रकट करने का सबने अधिकार है। हटाई अर्जुन ने थारी चुनौती स्वीकार है पण धर्मशास्त्र और धर्म नीतियों कहवे कि प्रतिस्पर्धा से पहले योद्धाओं ने अपना परिचय देना हो सी। इस संसार में ऐसा कोई को नहीं जो अर्जुन को नहीं जानता हो सी। एक थाने अपना परिचय देना हो सी। गुण वंशरा वंशरो गुण मारा दिव्य सौभाग्य हो पितारा कोई नाम हो सी के
मैं सारथी पुत्र कर्ण हूँ।
सारथी पुत्र माने शूद्र पुत्र या सीधे सीधे कवे तो नीच जाति का एक छोटा मिनट वाकई एक शूद्र ना एक क्षत्रिय ने चुनौती देना बड़ा ही चोखा विचार है पर मैं अट्ठे मौजूद सभी विद्वानों से ये जानना चाहूं कि याने यो अधिकार क्यों कर गयो लागे है अब शूद्र बालक हो सी ब्राह्मण और क्षत्रिय इन शूद्र की थाल में भोजन कर सी कम से कम ये चुनौती से तो ऐसा ही लागे है ये अट्ठे क्यों आया है कर
हमारी इच्छा सुन।
आपने इच्छा पर काबू करना सीख मूर्ख बालक जा अपना ये रणवण अपने गांव रे की जा खाड़ में जा टिका काफी मुद्रा कमा ले सी जा चला जा ठहर
रुको ये क्या हो रही है एक योद्धा रो अपमान करते ठीक को नहीं किया गुरुदेव।
चुप रहो दुर्योधन।
मैं चुप को रहती हूँ मारा चुप रहवा वो से के बदल तो को जासी जो आचार्य ने वीर के सागे किया।
मूर्खता मने करो दुर्योधन हरे कोई अधिकार को नहीं।
मने अधिकार है अगर कोई गुरु गलत करे है तो शिष्य ने पूरा अधिकार होवे कि वो भूल ने इंगित करे।
वो महाका गुरु है सहसु बड़ा है
तो कहबो को जाओ कि यहाँ को कियो गयो हर खोटो काम चोखो मान लियो जासी ई खातिर के माँ का गुरु है माँ से बड़ा। अरे संसार में नैतिकता री शिक्षा देवे है तो फिर ये पक्षपात क्यों करे है।
ईर्ष्या ने थारा दिमाग खराब कर दिया दुर्योधन।
ईर्ष्या कुंडू कुड़सु है जैसे के सामने जब महारथी पर आधार पौरुष बल है तो फिर ये जाति कुजाति रो प्रश्न कठे सुवायो। अर्जुन तो चुनौती स्वीकार भी कर ली होसी फिर तो ये षड्यंत्र क्यों कियो।
दुर्योधन
एक चिल्लार मारी बात ने दबावारी कोशिश मने करो है थाके कने इस सवाल रो जवाब
थाने दिखाई को देवे वो एक नीच जाति रा मिनक है।
वीर री जाति सिर्फ वीरता होवे और कहीं को नहीं।
पर राजवंश ने चुनौती देवार अधिकार याने को नहीं।
क्यों एक खातिर क्यों राजवंश रो को नहीं। राजवंश ने चुनौती देवारे खातिर राजवंश न होना जरूरी है तो ठीक है। दुर्योधन समस्त प्रजाजन और हस्तिनापुर के सामने कर्ण ने अंग देश को राजा घोषित करो।
राजा हो जावा सु कोई क्षत्रिय को हो जासी
फिर क्या हो सी
जन्म सु जन्म री बात है मना करो गुरुदेव। अगर जन्म क्षत्रियता निर्धारित करे तो इस सभा में मौजूद सभी व्यक्ति क्षत्रियों को होते। क्यों अर्जुन, तुम्हारा उत्तर ठीक है नहीं? हमारा धृतराष्ट्र कर्ण के दाई न्याय मांगू कि वो जाति भेद न कर। कर्ण ने न्याय देवे कि वो साबित कर सके कि त्रिकाल में त्रिलोक रो सर्वश्रेष्ठ धनुर्धर अर्जुन कोनी वो स्वयं है।
यह कोनी हो सके महाराज।
मैं थासू न्याय मांगू महाराज।
महाराज ने धर्मशास्त्र बदलवार अब कोई अधिकार को नहीं, और यह जगमानी बात है। कर्ण यह चुनौती स्वीकार को करी जा सके, क्योंकि कर्ण एक शूद्र है, अर्जुन है क्षत्रिय।
फिर मैंने क्यों कि अर्जुन त्रिकाल में त्रिलोक रो सर्वश्रेष्ठ धनुर्धर है। हाँ, क्षत्रिय में सर्वश्रेष्ठ हो के सके और ऊपर भी प्रश्न चिन्ह सदैव लगा रहे। क्यों अर्जुन, तुम ये साबित को कर बचाओ कि थे सर्वश्रेष्ठ धनुर्धर हो। अगर हो तो आगाड़ी बढ़ो और इन चुनौती ने स्वीकार करो।
जो एक शूद्र है और मैं हूं अर्जुन, पांडु पुत्र अर्जुन, गुरु द्रोण और सर्वोत्तम शिष्य, और इन संसार और सर्वश्रेष्ठ धनुर्धर अर्जुन। जो है मारो परिचय देशु, एक दिन तेरा आपको परिचय जरूर देशु। आज सु अब सु एक घड़ी सु ऊपर इंतजार कर अर्जुन, एक दिन तेरा आपको परिचय जरूर देशु। विचार सुन देवानंद ने इसको कृपाम शीघ्रता दिखाई।
शीघ्रता को दिखातो हो तो बात पांडवारे सागे घूमतो हो तो गुरुद्रोण ने थे को जानो अर्जुन ने चुनौती देवा वाला ने विकलांग बना देवे एकलव्य ने भूल गा के एक अंगराज ने बदले इन्हें सारी
कहीं भी करके पांडवा से मटो निकाल नाथ ने भूल ना पायो भीमरों में प्रहार चांडालानी प्रहार को गदा युद्ध में टूट पड़ना अर्जुन को गुरु द्रोण के सर पर चढ़कर फुदकड़ो माने क्या आशंका घेर वो खड़े खरिया के अनुसार कार्य न करो तो
एक ही प्रश्न है कितनी बार कुमार विनाश कर रहे हो बस करो चलो आज हमारा एक निर्णय धने तर्क कर्मो तो आयो अगर वो मारो क्यों नहीं मारियो वो खुद ही अपने आप में जल राख हो जाता मेरे सामर्थ्य चिटपटाहट मेरे जीवा को दे अर्जुन ने चुनौती देता वक्त हमारी आंखों को देखी काला मुखी सी धधकती हमारी आंखें अर्जुन के प्रति जो प्रतिस्पर्धा रो भाव के मन में जागे हुए देख जे मेरे कने बेके के कर गुजरे को घोड़ा हटे
हो शायद पुरोचन हो
बुलाओ इन्हें पांडव ने धर्मवीर आराधना लेता है पांडव आचार्य हो और बटे वहां के निवास के ताई रोचन ने ही प्रबंध कर होसी
प्रश्न मेरे चावे को ना है दुर्योधन प्रश्न है न्याय को
अगर हो सके जो थारी नजर में न्याय वो हमारे लिए न्याय हो
न्याय को आधार व्यक्तिगत कारण ना हो मैं दुर्योधन
तो फिर क्या हो द्वारकाधीश
हित जो हितकारी है वो न्याय है
हित वो भी तो वही कह रही हो जो हमारी नजर में हित है वो वहां की नजर में अहित और जो हमारी नजर में हित है वो हमारे लिए अहित बटे दोनों ही परिस्थितियां निर्णय अलग अलग तो फिर किसने निर्णय ने न्याय मानो
हम बार बार घूम के वही जगह पे आ रहे दुर्योधन समझने की चेष्टा करो तेरे या बिन के हित के बड़ो है या समाज को हित और न्याय को आधार हस्तिनापुर के प्रजा जमीन को हित हो ना कि तेरो या बिन को
अतरो पूछ भारी दृष्टिता अवश्य करूं कि हस्तिनापुर रो हित द्वारका नरेश या हस्तिनापुर से अलग होया वो पांडव की हत्या कर सके हित तो पालक तय करे और प्रजा और पालक मैं हूं हस्तिनापुर नरेश दुर्योधन
अच्छा मैं तो समझता आया कि सौभाग्य महाराज धृतराष्ट्र प्राप्त है
हाँ अतरो तो अच्छे से पता हो कि जो हमारो पिता रो सौभाग्य वो मारो सौभाग्य और वो सौभाग्य केवल मारो होसी ना की तथा कथित पांडु पुत्रो रो
ना जाने में क्यों तोते बहस कर रहा जबकि ये सबरी बात तो महाराज धृतराष्ट्र तय करनी है महाराज आप अच्छी तरह से सोच विचार के निर्णय लें और पांडवन ने निश्चिंता प्रदान करें कि बिन के संग अन्याय नहीं होगा
है ठीक का वो हो कृष्ण मगर दुर्योधन भी निश्चिंत होना चाहे कि उनके सागे भी अन्याय नहीं होवे
अन्याय की बात ही का पैदा हुए महाराज 12 बरस के बाद जो इनको राज्य मिलने की शर्त थी वो पूरी हुई राज्य तो पहले बढ़ चुका हो अब इनको राज्य मिलने वापस मिलना चाहिए कि नहीं
राज्य बटो हो बड़ा वेग सी और नैतिक दृष्टि से भी यही ठीक कि
राज्य को दोबारा को बांटी जासी ताकि बाकी शक्ति कम को होवे।
नैतिकता की बात कर रहा हो दुर्योधन। पहले कही हती कि 12 बरस के वनवास और 1 बरस के अज्ञातवास के बाद पांडव इनको राज्य पा सकेंगे, और अब तेरी नैतिकता यूं कह रही है कि अपनी बात तुम कर जाओ।
मानो वनवास पूरा हो और अज्ञातवास को नहीं,
मगर तेरी राज्यसभा के आचार्य कोई तो मतभेद है।
राजाओं को कर्मचारियों से मतभेद हो असंभव को नहीं कृष्ण।
गणनाएं भी तेरा साथ ना दे रहे दुर्योधन।
गणित तोड़ा मरोड़ा भी जा सके है,
मगर यही बात तो पे भी लागू हो गए
और साबित को होवे। और मैं अपनो हाथ हो राज्य उन दुर्बल भयभीत अक्षम पांडवर हाथे को जाने देती हूँ जिनरे अंदर अद्रोभी मात तो कोनी के खुदार बात करता थाने भेज दियो पैर वीरे खातिर के सोचो के घबरा दब जासी अड़ो चौको होसी के थेवारो या भ्रम भी दूर कर दो। अपनो हाथ हो राज्य के भी हालत में को देसी हूँ।
आप सबको भी यही मत है। शायद वो लगे यहाँ और कोई के मत को तो सवाल ही ना उठो। ठीक है, समझौता अब भी है सके। अगर दुर्योधन आदो राज्य ना देवे पे अड़ो वो है तो मेरा प्रस्ताव है कि पांडव ने सिर्फ 5 गांव ही शासन का दिए जाए।
मैं समझौतावादी को नहीं कृष्ण। 5 गांव तो के माने सुईरी नोक के बराबर जमीन को दे।
उम्र की नादानी तो पे काफी झलके दुर्योधन, पर राज्य के निर्णय बिना सोचे विचारे ना लिए जाए। तेरे पास समय है, अच्छी तरह से सोच विचार ले फिर निर्णय ले।
और मैं सोचवा को चाहूँ तो
युद्ध के विचार नकारो ना जा सका दुर्योधन।
धमकी से मार पे कोई असर को होसी।
धमकी ना दे रहो, समझा रहो। भविष्य के गर्भ में जो छुपा हुआ है वह तू ना जाने।
कोई भी को जाने है भी को नहीं।
अनुभव यही अंतर पैदा करे दुर्योधन। भविष्य के घर में जो छुपा हुआ है वह देखो ना जा सके, मगर वह को आभास क्यों जा सके जो तो ना है रो।
भविष्य थाने के आभास दे वह
यही कि अगर तुम ना मानो तो युद्ध होगा।
और युद्ध में क्या होगा? वो 5 भाई मिलकर मां 100 भाइयों ने परास्त कर देगो।
असंभव ना है दुर्योधन।
खेल किनरे आगे खेल रहा हो कृष्ण। जाओ प्रचार की नहीं और ने समझा जो मारे कने शक्ति अजय योद्धा है, राज सैनिक समूह है जिनरे सागे महासमुद्र भी छोटा जान पड़ा है, अभय शस्त्र है जिनरी प्रचंडता से त्रिलोक कांपे है। ये सब हमारे कने। भिखारी पांडवा के कने के
इनके पास मैं हूं दुर्योधन। मैं
अपनी बात को टुटारे बल पर समझौतारी बात करे और दुर्योधन रे द्वार पर खड़ो हो अपने 5 पांडव के लिए भीख मांगे और कुछ भी को मिल बात युद्धरी खोखली धमकियां देवे थे कहीं भी को नहीं हो कृष्ण। थे दीमक खाए 500 ज्यादा और कहीं भी को नहीं हो।
सोच कर माफ कर तो आयो कि तू एक बच्चा है, अबोध है, नादान है और एक मूर्ख है। मगर आज तूने साबित कर दियो कि तू एक बच्चा ना है बल्कि एक कृतज्ञ दुराचारी और एक दम्भी मनुष्य है जो सत्ता के मन में यूं भी भूल चुका है कि बाय मनुष्य बनाया कौन है। तेरे मोह ना पहचानो, तेरे कृष्ण ना पहचानो तो आज अपने आप खोलना मोर जान। मैं वो हूं जाके प्रेम के काजे सारो संसार तरसे और जाके क्रोध पे पूरा ब्रह्मांड कांपे। मैं जन्म हूं और मैं ही मृत्यु, माना भी हूं। क्या मारा मैं हतो, मैं हूं और मैं सदैव रहूंगा। केवल मेरे रूप बदलते रहेंगे दुर्योधन, मगर याद रख मैं सदैव तेरे काल को मूल रहूंगा।
अरे शब्दा तू डरावारी कोशिश मने करो।
ठीक है, तेरी यही इच्छा है तो सुन। हस्तिनापुर की राज्य सभा में मैं महायुद्ध की घोषणा करूं। पांडव और कौरव के बीच लड़ो जावे वाला युद्ध कुरुक्षेत्र की भूमि पर लड़ो जाएगा। ये धर्म युद्ध होगा मगर यहाँ के परिणाम इतने विभत्स होंगे जाके तू कल्पना भी ना कर सके दुर्योधन। प्रलय आएगी, हत्यारन की प्रचंड टंकार मानव समाज मत डालेगी, मगर अमृत नहीं होगा। बचेगा तो केवल कालो कसालो बदबूदार विष। चारों दिशाएं अब इसमें धसकते लोगों की चीखन से थर्राएंगी। अमृत देवे वाले हाथ अंतिम मृत्यु को दान होगा और मृत्यु भी कैसी घायल कर देंगे, छटपटाएंगे
रमन की पिपासा थकेगी। आदमी आदमी ना रह के नरपशु हो जाएगा, और नरपशु भी कैसे हो जो सिर्फ इतना जाने कि मार दे अन्यथा तुम्हें कोई मार देगा। एक वो समय होगा दुर्योधन जब भाई भाई के खून के प्यासे होंगे, काल अकाल बनकर छाएगा आतंक दुर्योधन, आतंक धरती को तोड़ जाएगा। फिर सब खत्म होगा, बचेगा तो केवल डरावना सन्नाटो और लाशन की सड़ान। हाँ हाँ दुर्योधन, अब ये युद्ध होगा।
आओ वासुदेव, मैं थारो इंतजार करो।
तो तू जानतो कि मैं आऊंगा।
काल जो कुछ भी राज सभा में हुआ उसका बाद में थानानो ही हो। और बताओ, और भी कोई कारण सानो हो?
यो जानतो कि मैं आऊंगा, पर यो ना जानतो कि मैं क्यों आऊंगा।
साधारण मनुष्य हूं, गलती भी हो सके, थे ही को तो बेहतर है।
एक बात बता, आज जो कछु भी राज्य सभा में हुआ का वो ठीक हो?
की बात की ओर संकेत करो हो वासुदेव।
सबरी बातन की तरफ पांडवन को बिनको राज्य ना मिलने का न्याय संगत हतो। अरे मैं तो 5 गांव तक भी राजी हो, मगर वो मूर्ख दुर्योधन तो अड़ो पड़ो है कि मैं सुई की नोक के बराबर जमीन न दंगो।
कोई रे परिवार का झगड़ा और हस्तिनापुर का राज संबंधी निर्णय में मन हस्तक्षेप करवा को कोई अधिकार को नहीं।
हस्तक्षेप करवे की ना कह रहा हूं कर्ण, मैं तेरे विचार जानना चाह रहा हूं।
ये पूरी घटना में हमारा विचार कोई मायने कौन रखा कृष्ण?
रखे अपनी और अपने विचारन की महत्ता है समझ,
पर हमारे पहचानने से लोग ने स्वीकार तो नहीं करेंगे, या फिर करेंगे?
क्यों ना करेंगे? भला विचारन की महत्ता है स्वीकार कौन कर सके?
हमारी बातन सुनिया लगे है कि आज तक जो कुछ भी मैं देखो समझो वो सारो एक नीरो भ्रम हो कृष्ण।
भ्रम ही तो हतो, और यहाँ को सबसे बड़ा उदाहरण है दुर्योधन से तेरी मित्रता।
कुछ कह देने वर्षा वो साबित को हो कृष्ण।
मगर तर्क तो यही थे, जो अपने भैयान को ना है सको वो तेरो का होगो कर्ण।
उनरा भाई भी तो उका कट्ठा होया, वो मित्र है कृष्ण, क्योंकि मित्र वाका अपना है।
दुर्योधन पे तेरी मित्रता निरा भ्रम है कर्ण,
और पांडवा की हमारे प्रति असीम घृणा भी एक भ्रम है।
हाँ भ्रम है, क्योंकि पांडवन की घृणा होते ना है, अधर्म पे है, और अधर्म को साथ दे विवारिनते है, और तू अधर्म को साथ दे रहा है।
सिर्फ थारी बात में साबित करना खातर दियो गयो तर्क उतर्क होए कृष्ण। मैं तो कोई रे साथ को नहीं हूं, फिर माने घृणा क्यों मिली?
तेरा सोचना गलत है कर्ण।
छोड़ो कृष्ण, हाँ बातों को कोई अंत को नहीं। अब थे यह बताओ कि थे मारे से क्या चाहो?
तू दुर्योधन को साथ छोड़ दे।
चलो छोड़ दियो, अब क्या करूं? अर्जुन को सारथी बन जाऊं?
तू ऐसा क्यों सोचे?
थे यूं क्यों सोचो कि मैं दुर्योधन को साथ छोड़ दूंगा?
क्योंकि दुर्योधन से तेरी मित्रता भ्रम है, और भ्रम को टूटना ही बाकी नियति है।
संबंध हमारे और दुर्योधन के बीच में है, या न तो या मैं जानू हूं या फिर दुर्योधन। और इस संबंध में भ्रम गणो थारो खुद को भ्रम को नहीं, फिर इरो भाग्य होना चाहिए।
यदि भ्रम है तो ये भी टूट जाएगा कर्ण।
तो यो फिर इन टूटन दो वासुदेव।
दुर्भाग्य तो ना तो ये तेरे बस में है और ना ही मेरे। या को निर्णायक है समय, और कौन जाने कि कौन को समय नजदीक है। एक बात तो है, आज दुर्योधन ने जो कछु भी राज्य सभा में अपने शस्त्र बल और योगदान के बारे में कही हती, बातें एक बात तो साबित हो गई कि वो खुद कितने बड़े भ्रम में है। क्योंकि शस्त्र योद्धा और बल के नाम पे अगर वहां के पास कोई है तो वो तू है कर्ण।
पितामह और द्रोण के होते हुए भी थे यह बात कह रहे हो?
हाँ, क्योंकि बल सिर्फ भुजान में नारे मनते भी हो गए,
परंतु और बहुत सा है जो मन सभा के साथ में है कृष्ण।
तो दुर्योधन को साथ छोड़ दे, फिर देख विजय कौन की होए।
थे पांडवा को साथ छोड़ दो, फिर देखो विजय किसकी होए। या कह रहा आपसे बराबरी करने को मारो कोई इरादो को नहीं।
पर ऐसा है भी ना सके।
तो हमारी ऐसी कोई इच्छा भी कोई नहीं, क्योंकि मैं भली भांति जानूं कि कर्ण कर्ण है और कृष्ण कृष्ण। कह के बाद में बहुत कुछ अलग है।
तर्क बुद्धि तेरे पास बहुत अच्छी है कर्ण, मगर जरा विवेक बुद्धि से सोच। अगर युद्ध हुआ तो संहार होगा, महासंहार।
अरे महासंहार की घोषणा आप ही करी है वासुदेव,
मगर बीज मैंने ना डालो। एक बात बता, जब युद्ध तो क्या मिलेगा?
एक सवाल मैंने भी परेशान करे कि युद्ध से थाने के मिलोगे वासुदेव?
मैं धर्म और सच के संग हूं
और मैं सिद्धांत आ गए। ई कारण युद्ध में भाग लेनो आपने दुनियारी व्यवस्था है कृष्ण
ना। तेरे का जो व्यवस्था ना है मूर्खता है। कभी युद्ध को अंत सोचो तेने?
जन्म का समय बच्चों मृत्यु के बारे में कौन सोचे कृष्ण?
क्योंकि वो अबोध रे, बाके पास ज्ञान ना रे। हाँ गलती तेरी भी ना है, काश कि तू जान तो कि
मैं पांडवा का सबसे बड़ा भाई ज्येष्ठ कुंती पुत्र कर्ण हूं।
तो कैसे
अपनायो ने तो क्या बात हुई? इस संसार में हमारा जनक है
सूर्य।
हाँ, वो ही बतायो मैंने हमारे जीवन को एक और घिनौनो सच
ना कर। या सच घिनौना ना है। अरे जो तो बहुत पहले मिल जाना चाहिए तो वो अब मिलेगा। अरे तू कुंती को ज्येष्ठ पुत्र कहलाएगो, तू क्षत्रिय कहलाएगो। इस संसार मानेगो कि तू पांडवन में श्रेष्ठतम है। मानू कि तेरे साथ बहुत गलत हुआ, मैंने बहुत दुख बहुत यातना झेली है, मगर ये सच भी कब तक छुपो रहे तो कर्ण?
सच? यो सच आज ही क्यों सामने आयो? कटे छुपे हो सच? जब द्रोण शूद्र कहर हमारा अधिकार मुझसे छीन लिया। कटे छुपे हो सच? जब अर्जुन हमारी चुनौती ने स्वीकार करो। कटे छुपे हो सच? जब द्रौपदी स्वयंवर में माने नीच कहकर नकार दिए हो। कटे छुपे हो सच? जब हमारी आंखों के सामने हमारे पुत्र सुदामन की हत्या हुई। इन हाथा में गिरने से पहले मर चुके हो मारो बेटो। जी भगत हमारी हत्या हुई तब मैं एक शूद्र हो, लेकिन जब आज समय आया है अर्जुन का वध को तो मैं क्षत्रिय कुंती पुत्र। जाओ जाओ कृष्ण, शायद आप एक दूसरे रो वक्त बर्बाद कर रहा।
जरा सोचो कर्ण।
सभा में थे ठीक हो कृष्ण। युद्ध अब आरंभ हो चुके हैं, अब इन टालों को जा सके। प्रणाम।
પુત્ર કણ
हाँ
मायने आवा निकलो कैसी हो?
आओ, सूत्र घर में तारा स्वागत है।
क्या हो पुत्र?
ठीक हूँ, मतलब जिया भी हूँ थारे सामने।
थासो क्यों बात करनी?
कृष्ण जी बुआ यदि वारो संदेश लाई है तो वहां निराश करना खातर क्षमा चाहूंगा। मैं वहां ने मारो जवाब दे चुके हूँ, तो फिर थे अटे क्यों आया वो?
पुत्र मैं थासो मिलवाने आई हूँ।
हाँ पण क्यों?
क्योंकि एक माँ ने आपरा पुत्र से मिलवारो अधिकार है।
मान? हाँ मान के थी मारी भूल, के दोष हो मारो जो पाड़ो हो मां मान्यो, मगर थारो यो स्पर्श कई राता से लेटे हो अनंत आकाश ताक तो रहूं, सब कुछ सिमट जावे बस एक आखिर मां। सब कुछ मिलो जीवन में, सुख दुख घृणा यातना प्रेम राजपाट सब कुछ, पर मां के थी मारी भूल, के हूं मैं नराधम घृणित, के हूं मैं मां? क्यों छोड़ दियो तुम्हारे? क्यों छोड़ दियो इन नरक की अग्नि में झुलसने खातर? जब लोग मारे पर ताना कसते रहा, मारी आत्मा ने नोचता रहा, तो क्यों न छुपायो मन आप आंचल में? क्यों आप री गोद में सर रख कर कहो बेटा मैं हूं ना? क्यों इतना सा पांव था हमारा, चल भी को पातो घुटना रबल। क्यों न मन गोद में उठायो मां? क्यों न चूमे मारो मुख? क्यों न आपरो दूध पिलायो मां? क्यों? मारो कोई सहारो कोई मां। मैं क्या करूं? मैं कटे जाऊं?
धीरे धीरज रख, मैं हूं ना। कितरो बड़ो हो गयो है तू। कतरा कोमल केश पर कितरो खुरदरो है थारो शरीर। तू जतरो विशाल और कठोर है उतरो ही कोमल भी। कपास रश्वेत वाहिरी जिया। अरे तू बिल्कुल भी तो बड़ो को होयो। थारो बाल पर वटे ही ठहर गयो। कुछ भी तो ना बदलो, सिवाय ही को कि तू लापरवाह हो गयो है। मैं कोई ना।
हाँ ठीक हो। और आज विडंबना देखो कि थे कठा हो और मैं कठा हूं। गलत को कह रहे हो राजमाता। कई बार आपरे शरीर और आपने दिमाग ने कोई अलग ही चीज नियंत्रित करे नहीं कि
राजमाता मत क्या मने।
तो फिर क्या कहूं? या शायद थे भी को जानो।
मने ई तरह तो अपमानित मत कर पुत्र।
अपमानित? जो स्वयं जीवन भर अपमान में जियो हुआ है वो दूसरा रो अपमान किया करे वो? अपमान ने जान और अपमानित करना बड़ो कठिन हुआ है। काश इन्हें थे कभी समझ पाता।
बड़ो समझदार हो गयो है थे। दुख यातना अपमान के में थे ही तो हो गयो है। इज्जत तेरे जान की तरह तिल मिला उठे हुए। और मारो मारो के पुत्र जो इस सत्य ने जण्यो और फिर आप रही हाथा सुवी ने मृत्यु री कोप में डाल दी नो। कोई सो कुछ कह भी को पाई। जननी के कहती जट जनक ही मुंह मोड़ लियो। तने के लागे तने मृत्यु री कोप में सौंप में बड़ी मुक्ति महसूस होए होसी। बिछोना में मुंह छिपा ना जाने कतरी बार उस में अपनी वेदना कही। सिराना भी गीला हो हमारी त्रासदी पर हो तो पर मैं कुछ भी ना कर सकी कर।
क्यों? क्यों न थे कुछ कहो? क्यों न थे कुछ करो माता?
ताई कि मैं एक स्त्री हूँ।
हाँ बस यो ही फर्क रहे हो। थे एक स्त्री बने रहे कदे मां बनने की कोशिश भी को करी।
कड़ियो समाज मने कदे को स्वीकार तो।
क्यों? क्यों न स्वीकार तो?
क्योंकि थे हमारी अवैध संतान हो।
अवैध? क्या हूं मैं अवैध संतान? जबकि हमारा पिता है।
हाँ थारे पिता ने थानो आपनो नाम कदी को दीनो।
तो फिर पांडव वेद किया होया? क्या वारा पिता वन आपनो नाम दियो? मानो पांडु माने स्वीकार्यो मगर बाना अपना सकता था तो फिर माने क्यों कोनी?
पुत्र विवाह से पहले संतान की उत्पत्ति अमान्य है।
और विवाह के बाद में वो पद्धति से वो मान्य हो जावे।
ये समाज की ने मान्यता देवे है।
जो समाज तो हर चीज ने मान्यता देवे जो सब मनवायो जावे। आखिर वेद व्यास ने क्यों मान्यता मिली? क्योंकि सत्यवती मनवायो और थे इतना निर्बल हा कि थे कोशिश भी ना कर पाया। कम से कम एक बार तो कहो हो तो।
को जाने ये समाज कतरो निष्ठुर है।
यो समाज है कि राजमाता थे और मैं मान्यता आपा ही देवा पर मान्यता तो थे थारे मन में ही मन कदे को दी।
ये झूठ है। ऐसे देवताओं ने आपको पुत्र मानो।
हाँ पण आज ही क्यों? जब काल सुबह वो कर्ण कौरव सेना को सेनापति बन रणभूमि में लड़ना खातर जा रहे हैं तभी क्यों मनो मन आपरो बेटो?
पिताई कि मैं आज भी को आती तो विनाश हो तो भाई भाई की हत्या करवाने खातिर रणभूमि में उतर जातो।
ते न भी आता तो भी बठे भाई भाई री हत्या करें। वो थारा आ जाने से विनाश रुका को राजमाता क्योंकि वो विनाश स्वार्थ थारी नींव पर टिके है। और कोई भी शांति खातर स्वार्थ न त्यागना खातर तैयार कोनी। जाओ, रात्रि रो तीसरो पहर बीत रहे हैं। काल सुबह थान थारा पुत्रा रो रंग तिलक भी करना होगा।
तुझे निश्चय कर लियो।
हाँ।
जो बीत गए हो इन्हें भुलाया हो जा सके
ना, कदाई ना।
या ही भूल करो पुत्र। जो बीत जावे उनरो महत्व को होसी। महत्व होसी उनरो जो है या आमरो वालो है।
भूत भलाई बीत जावे, पर वो निर्णायक हुआ है आज और आने वाला कण को। वही हमारे जीवन रो फैसलो करे है। मैं नकार हो सकूं।
तू तो यूपी को नकार सके। जिसु तू लड़वा जा रहे हैं, वो भी तो शक्तिशाली है। वो भी तो कर सकते हैं थारो वध।
पहली बार सुने युद्ध में जाता वक्त एक माँ आपरे बेटा ने यारा वचन भी कहा है। पर निश्चिंत रहो, वो शक्तिशाली कौन नहीं, क्योंकि वारी शक्ति है कृष्ण। वो कोई शक्ति क्या बढ़ागा, वो खुद इतना निर्बल है। गलत को कह रहे हो राजमाता। अगर वो कमजोर ना होता तो थाने ना भेजता। यो देखो, दे दियो शब्दान में। अगर कोई यो समझे है कि कवच और कुंडल के बिना कर्ण कर्ण कोनी, तो ये हमारी सबसे बड़ी भूल है। क्योंकि कर्ण को अर्थ कवच और कुंडल से कोनी, वो है जो थारे सामने खड़े है।
बड़ो दानवीर है ना तू। सबने दान दे तो फिरो है। अपनी माँ ने दान को दी सी।
माँ ने दान देर छोटो करूं, ये हमारे से को सी। पर हाँ, एक वचन देव हूं। लो आज थारो ए वैद पुत्र थाना वचन देवा है कि मारा हाथा इन हाथा अर्जुन ने छोड़ और कोई पांडव रो वध को होसी। अर्जुन और मारे से कोई एक ही जीवित बचसी। इतना मैं संतोष कर लो मां। वो संसार जाने है कि थे 5 पुत्रारी मां हो, वो थे सदा रहसी।
संतोष, अरे संतोष तो ये दुनिया ने होसी। पर पुत्र, वो तो मैं ही खोसी हूँ।
मां, मैं थारी अवैध संतान हूं। क्या युद्ध में जान से पहले मन थारा आशीर्वाद रो भी अधिकार को नहीं? नहीं कृष्ण नहीं,
बाण चलाओ अर्जुन।
मैं बाण को चला सकूं।
बाण चलाओ अर्जुन।
तो रत्रो पहियो कीचड़ में जैसे उड़ा है।
अर्जुन बाण चला।
नहीं कृष्ण नहीं, मैं वो बाण को चला सकूं। यदि अबार मैं वो बाण चला दी तो हमारी अंतरात्मा मैंने जीवन भर का चोटती रहेगा। विकास सहाय माते प्रहार करने रो भार मारे माते मत चढ़ाओ कृष्ण। वो सहाय मैंने रत्रो पहियो कीचड़ में जैसे उड़ा। विकास सहाय माते प्रहार करने युद्ध रे सिद्धांत रे खिलाफ है कृष्ण। मैं वो बाण को चला सकूं। मैं वो बाण को चला सकूं कृष्ण।
समय और भाग्य या संसार रथ है अर्जुन, और संसार सिद्धांत में। अगर तू एक असहाय पर प्रहार ना करके अपने सिद्धांतन तारीख है तो तू समय और भाग्य की अवहेलना कर रहा है। बाको पहिया कीचड़ में समय ने गाड़ो है, और वो निहत्तो है क्योंकि भाग्य ऐसा चावे।
मगर कृष्ण,
मगर बाने क्यों ना सोची जब दुशासन पांचाली के शील रण को आतुलो। ये मगर बाने तब क्यों ना सोची जब तुम्हें तुम्हारे राज्य देवे थे वंचित कर दिया गया। ये मगर बाने तब क्यों ना सोची जब अबोध अभिमन्यु की हत्या कर दी गई। अर्जुन गांडव संभाल और बाण चला। अर्जुन बाण चला।
मारे साथ यहाँ क्यों करो कृष्ण? ते मारे साथ यहाँ क्यों करो?
यही तेरी नियति हती कर्ण। अधर्म को अंत हुओ और कहना अधर्म को साथ दियो।
अधर्म कृष्ण यो धर्म अधर्म के होवे है? जो थे करो वो मारो धर्म और मैं करो वो थारो अधर्म। फिर के धर्म और के अधर्म कृष्ण? थे मारे साथ यहाँ क्यों करो?
ये मेरो युद्ध धर्म हो कर्ण।
यो युद्ध हो के कृष्ण?
ये धर्म युद्ध हो।
धर्म युद्ध कृष्ण बहुत समझो तो जानो के ये युद्ध हो के यो दो विचारधारा रो युद्ध हो। यो दो विचारधारा री राज्य स्थापना रो युद्ध हो। थे आपरी विचारधारा को राज्य स्थापित करवो चावा और दुर्योधन आपरी। सच कहो कृष्ण, दुर्योधन थारी बात मान ले तो के पांडव एक कर इस रणभूमि में ना मर रहा होता। पण थे थारे विचारा रे आगे मजबूर हा कृष्ण।
हाँ, हतो मैं मजबूर और तू भी तो हतो। अरे जब युद्ध मेरे और दुर्योधन के विचारन को हतो तो तू बीच में खाते आयो।
आप सिद्धांत तारा कारण।
हाँ तो सिद्धांत ही तो विचार रे कर्ण।
नहीं कृष्ण, सिद्धांत अडिग रहे है और विचार बदल जावे है। पण यह युद्ध में देख लाग्यो कि कुछ लोगा रा सिद्धांत भी बदल जावे है। आपरी लालसा ने शांत करवा खातर थे के पुन करो कृष्ण? यह युद्ध री घोषणा की, हमारी संरचना की, हमारा मनोबल ने तोड़वा खातर मन यो बताना आया कि मैं कुंती री हवा संतान मां ने भेजो। अर्जुन रे पिता इंद्र ने भेजो मारो कवच और कुंडल लेन खातर। शल्य थारे कर्ण पे कौन आया कि यारो सारथी भेजो कृष्ण, जो पथ पथ पर आप रही हो धर्म मनोबल तोड़ तो रहे हो।
क्या बात है तू जा रहे कर्ण? मगर यह कटु सत्य संसार न माने को।
क्या माने को कृष्ण? थे तो यवनिका का पीछा हो। बठाई सके हर सिद्धांत, हर तर्क, हर न्याय न तड़ुम रड़ो।
हाँ, मानू कि मैंने गलत करा, पर तू भी यह गंदगी से बचो ना रहे हो कर्ण। कहाँ हो तेरा पौरुष जब द्रौपदी के वस्त्र हरे जा रहे? अरे क्यों ना बोला जब दुर्योधन ने पांडवन को राज्य देवे तो मना कर दियो? अरे क्यों साथ दियो तेरे उन महारवीर को जिनने एक अबोध अभिमन्यु की हत्या कर दी?
इतनो तो थे मानो हो कृष्ण कि थे गलत करो।
हाँ क्यों मैंने गलत, क्यों मैंने बुरा, मगर अच्छो भी करो। और कोई भी इंसान पूरी तरीके से बुरा और अच्छो ना कर सके। और मैं भी इंसान तो एक रूप हूँ, तो मैं भी आप बात पे बचा तो ना रह सके हो कर्ण।
तो फिर लोग था नहीं क्यों पूछा मैं कृष्ण?
क्योंकि मैंने धर्म को आधार रखो और अंततः विजय वही की हुई।
धर्म कृष्ण धर्म विजयी हुआ है या विजय धर्म? अगर मैं जीतता तो मैं ही धर्म बढ़ाता और मैं ही पूजा जाता।
मगर तू हार गया कर्ण।
हाँ, मैं मरू हूं पर भौतिक रूप से, पर हार कर भी मैं ही जीतो कृष्ण और थे जीत कर भी हार गा। यारो उदाहरण है थारी बंद मुट्ठी। और ऐसा तो अच्छा मारो शत्रु अर्जुन है जो मन नियत तो देख झिझक तो गयो कृष्ण, मगर थे को झिझकिया, थे को झिझकिया कृष्ण।
कर्ण
हाँ कृष्ण, मारो यो युद्ध हो के मारा जन्म रो युद्ध, मारा अधिकारा रो युद्ध और मारे व्यक्तित्व रो युद्ध। और जब हमारी माँ ही संसार के सामने को स्वीकार्यो कि मैं मारो बेटो हूँ, बस कृष्ण बठाई में हार गयो, बठाई में हार गयो कृष्ण, बठाई में हार गयो।
हाँ कर्ण, तू युद्ध हार गया, क्योंकि कुंती कोई भी काल कोई भी लोक में कभी स्वीकार ना करेगी कि कर्ण वा को पुत्र हो।
मारा गया संसार रो सर्वश्रेष्ठ योद्धा भारती कर्ण, मारो पुत्र कर्ण मारो गयो।
I'd like to invite Swapan Mandal, founder director of Shubdrak Hyderabad, festival director, to be on stage and felicitate Rang Mastani. Thank you, Rang Mastani, for this wonderful performance.
आज की संध्या में आपने नाटक देखा महारथी, जो कर्ण के जीवन पे बेस्ड था, और इसके डायरेक्टर हैं अभिषेक मुदगल जी, और मेरा नाम सावन है और मैंने लाइट्स पे काम किया। और
विवेक जाखड़ कर्ण।
नमस्कार, देव स्वामी दुर्योधन।
फैजान। हेलो, अमित चौधरी।
दिव्यांश शुमनानी अर्जुन।
श्वेता चौलगाय खत्री एज कुंती।
सुधांशु शुक्ला कृष्ण।
दीपक सैनी।
आकाश शर्मा द्रोणाचार्य।
निखिल जैन।
जो आपने महारथी प्ले देखा उनके राइटर थे विभांशु वैभव, और इसका राजस्थान उपांतरण सरताज नारायण माथुर जी ने किया है। सो थैंक यू सो मच फॉर बीइंग सच अ ग्रेट ऑडियंस।
And thank you, Rang Mastani, for this splendid performance. So, since Abhishek Mudgal ji is not here at the moment with the team, so on behalf of Abhishek Mudgal ji, Sweta will be accepting So 3 cheers for Xpression. 3 cheers for Rang Mastane.
Very good performance. Thank you.
Hey, hello. Hey, आपका थीम सॉन्ग डांस पे करो ना. Hey.
একটা বোর্ড অফ With this, we officially announce the closure of our 3-day multilingual theatre festival Xpression. But before that, we would like to thank all our sponsors and patrons without whom it would have been impossible to have this festival. So thank you, Department of Language and Culture, Government of Telangana. Thank you, Senko, and all the other patrons who some wish to remain anonymous and some are okay, but like you know, the list is too long, so I am cutting that short. So thank you everyone, thank you Hyderabad, thank you audience. Next time when we come back, I hope that you would love to see us back. So like, you know, please be there and encourage us. And normally we start each day's program with our theme song, but today, since it's the finale, we would like to end it with our theme song. So here it is for you. 1. Tulpar, tuluk, tulpar, tulpar, tuluk, tulpar, tulpar, tuluk, tulpar, manuk জীবনে tulpar, tuluk, tulpar, চিন্তায় চেতনায় ধারণায় মননে জীবনে tulpar, tuluk, tulpar, tulpar, tuluk, tulpar, భూతాని యజ్ఞోపవీతాని వైప్లవ్య గీతాని నేను స్మరిస్తే పద్యం హరిస్తే వాద్యం అనల వేదిక ముందు అస్త్ర నైవేద్యం tulpar, tuluk, tulpar, tulpar, tuluk, tulpar, tulpar, tuluk, tulpar. एक सपने के टूटकर चकनाचूर हो जाने के बाद दूसरे सपने देखने के हौसले को जिंदगी कहते हैं. मैं अकेला ही चला था जाने में मंजिल, मगर लोग साथ आते गए और कारवां बनता गया. tulpar, tuluk, tulpar, tulpar, tuluk, tulpar, tulpar, tuluk, tulpar. And we are still marching on the streets with little victories and big defeats. But there is joy and there is hope and there is a place for you. Tulpar, tuluk, tulpar, tulpar, tuluk, tulpar, tulpar, tuluk, tulpar. মানব জীবনে tulpar, tuluk, tulpar.
চিন্তায় চেতনায় ধারণায় মননে জীবন তোলপাড় তুলুক তোলপাড় তোলপাড় তুলুক তোলপাড়